Hello, seniors. Welcome to the next part of your review. This one is going to be over Congress, just sort of explaining how Congress works, a quick review in preparation for your AP test. So, Congress, again, Article 1 creates the bicameral legislature. This is a result of that great compromise that we talked about, the Constitutional Convention. Your review packet has lots of really great charts that I do enjoy. This is probably one of my favorite ones. Senate is 100 members. If we were to ever add more states to the union, we could increase that. However, we're set at 100. Representation is constant among the states, so each state gets 2 members. Members are based on the popular vote of the people. This is a change from the 17th Amendment that's added during the Progressive Era. Remember, income senators, wine, women. They have staggered 6-year terms, so every 2 years, a third of them are being turned out. And remember that we talked about that, would you rather be a senator or a House member, thinking about a piece of pie. If I say that you can have a piece of a pie that is 1/435th of a pie or 1/100th, you obviously want the one that's 1/100th because it's a larger piece of pie. So the Senate has more power, it's more individualist. We tend to know senators more than we know House members. Do remember, though, that more than this, we obviously know president more than either. All right, so the leadership, the vice president is actually in charge. However, he's really not there very often. And really, his only job is to break a tie. He's not allowed to debate or anything like this. So the president pro tempore, the president for the time being, is the senior member of the majority party, ceremonial position, and he sits in when the vice president is not there. Just like in the House of Representatives, we have a majority and minority leader. Remember that both of their jobs are to just sort of wrangle votes and to keep their members in line. So if you have someone who's saying that they're not going to vote how you think they should, etc., you would ask your minority leader to whip them into shape. So the House of Representatives is 435 members. That's fixed. So even if we got another state, it would be the same amount. Representation is based on the population of each state. This is based on the census, which we do every 10 years. The members are elected by the representatives' district constituents. So whereas everyone in the state of Texas votes for whoever is going to be our senator, when it comes to the House, you vote for people within your district. So the example I gave you is that we all had the opportunity this last election cycle to vote for John Cronin. Like, that was someone who was on all of our ballots. However, Eddie Bernice Johnson was only on the ballots for those of you that live within that district around the school. They served 2 terms, and it's more centralized, less individualistic, because again, there's 435 of them. Leadership-wise, the Speaker of the House is really in charge. He's the presiding guy. He's really handling everything, and this is the most important position. The majority and minority leaders both do various things as well, just like they do in the Senate. Question, make sure you can answer it. Okay, organization. It's very male, it's very white. Incumbent, person who's already holding elective office, and we still have basically career senators, career House members. Which of the following does not help explain why incumbents usually get reelected? See if you can answer this. Okay, and remember that we talked about in the multiple choice to make sure that if it's a not question, you don't get yourself thrown off on that. A lot of you see incumbents are, and you answer the correct answer and move along. Definitely spend a minute to make sure that you're circling the knots and answering questions not based on what you think is true, but what the question is asking you. Okay, so some vocab words you need to know. Apportionment, reapportionment, congressional districting, and gerrymandering. Okay, apportionment is how many, or the process by which there are House seats divided by state. So each state gets a different number of people. This is based on the population of their state. Reapportionment is when we redivide them up. So basically, if Texas gets more population, reapportionment is where they say, okay, Texas, here's your 5 more people. Ohio, here's your 3 less people, etc. Congressional districting is when they draw the lines. So because Texas has 5 more seats, they have to draw the lines to say, hey, this is where the new boundaries of Texas are going to be. And then gerrymandering is when you basically draw those districts to give one political party favor over another. So this is that process by which we played the game. We talked about how like you could make it to where only Republicans win, only Democrats could win, etc. Okay, so question. This again is a really good example of a tricky multiple choice question because it has very, very similar answers in it. But basically, it's a straight definition question. So we talked about how you should be able to just cross out anything that says the word Senate in it because you should know that the Senate doesn't involve any kind of reapportionment because everybody who's in the Senate is given that, their 2 seats. Okay, question. Oh, question. Make sure you can answer it. We've written this one in class. Okay, make sure you know incumbency, why it is so much more advantageous. Make sure you understand the congressional override. To pass a bill, you only need 51%, so you just need a simple majority. To overturn a president's veto, though, you need 2/3, which is much harder to get, particularly in this like modern time period that we live in where everything is more polarized. And it's going to be very hard to get one side or another to agree. Make sure you know your committees. When we played our mock Congress, a standing committee was the type of committee you were in. A select committee is something there just for a short period of time. So Watergate, something like this, 9/11, something big happens, therefore we need it. A joint committee is made up of members of both the House and other groups. And then a conference committee, that's where they're just there for a minute to like figure out how to make a bill. So when we talked about like our immigration bill that we were trying to get passed that was going to basically, it was an education bill. And it was going to give everybody a free education by raising a gas tax. We said that, if in the Senate they said it was a 10-cent tax, and then in the House they said it was a 9-cent tax, it would not get passed unless that conference committee agreed to come to a compromise on that tax rate. A caucus is just a group of members who come together because they share some sort of joint purpose. So anytime that you caucus, that's just you meeting. So we said that like the Congressional Black Caucus, there may be Democrats who are African American and in the House, and there may be Republicans that are African American in the House. But they probably have some things that they want to talk about to achieve together. So they caucus together, maybe even against party lines. We said the same was true of women. There are also Democratic, Republican caucuses. There's caucuses for like environmental concerns. Really people who want to gather together for a common purpose. So we said that the members of Congress serve many, many roles, mostly making policy, representing their people, holding your vote and trust, things of this. Make sure you know your powers of Congress. I said probably a very good use of your time would be just to remember 3 or 4 powers of the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch. Again, more powers of Congress. Make sure that you know them are very, very important. Make sure that you understand how a bill becomes a law. I hope that you remember this pretty well since we did do the activity and we got our own bills passed. So I feel like you're pretty comfortable with this. But in case you're not, make sure that you go over it. Make sure you can answer questions such as this. Make sure you can answer questions such as this. We talked through specialization, just like if you're on the House Foreign Services Committee, you're very confident about foreign services. That's all that you really spend your time doing. Reciprocity, log rolling, pork, earmarks, all the same thing. And then party representation on committees, remember, is the exact same as it is in the House. So if there are 60% Republicans, 60% Republicans, 40% Democrats, and let's say there are 10 members in a committee, there would be 6 Republicans and 4 Democrats. Make sure that you could explain this one. Make sure you could answer this multiple choice and know what a filibuster is. Make sure you know this one. This is very representative of about half the questions you'll probably get on the exam, where it's just basically a definition question. So what is an open seat is basically what they're asking you. All right, that is all for the legislative branch. I hope that was helpful. If you need more assistance, please come talk to me.